Pubs, restaurants and gyms could soon reopen to fully vaccinated New South Wales residents under a proposal being considered by Premier Gladys Berejiklian. According to The Australian, the freedoms will kick in once 70% coverage has been reached, which is likely to happen in October. And the details will be revealed in full next week. Face-to-face learning in schools is also expected to return at the start of Term 4. For more, I'm joined by New South Wales Police Minister David Elliott. Morning to you. We're hearing this story this morning. Pubs, restaurants, gyms will open once we get to 70%. That's expected to be early October. Can you confirm that?
Well, that's the plan, and that's something that a lot of people have been working very hard towards. We've got to make sure that we continue to encourage people to get the vaccine. And I can tell you, as a member for a Western Sydney electorate, the best way to motivate my constituents to get the vaccine is to tell them they'll be able to go to the pub soon.
So, will there be a formal announcement on that in the coming days?
Well, it's a decision Crisis Cabinet will take and the Premier will make, and it's not something that she's been considering overnight. It's something that she's been working towards for quite some time. We've, as a government, we've been speaking to the hospitality industry, the AHA, Clubs New South Wales, restaurants, and I know Premier Treasurer Perrottet and Premier Berejiklian have had a lot of discussions with them about that. And it makes sense. It makes perfect sense. It's exactly what the British government did, and I think if we have to live with the virus, well, then this is the benchmark that we have to reach.
Right, so you'd line up and you'd have your vaccine passport and you'd click it and you'd get in. Okay, well that's great to know. Look, we're hearing that you've got 1,000 officers ready for these anti-lockdown protests for Sydney tomorrow. What's your intelligence telling you?
Well, it's very difficult to predict exactly how many people are going to break the law from one day to the next, but the police intelligence and the advice that we've received from people that are working in those areas that monitor the illegal activity are suggesting that we need to be ready for all contingencies, and that's exactly what we're doing. We want to make sure that people know that if they're going to flout the law, if they're going to risk the extension of these lockdowns, if they're going to want to spread COVID to their loved ones, well, then they're going to meet a wave of blue.
Yep, OK, well, let's hope so. We've got calls, we've got hundreds of cases across New South Wales, especially in Sydney. We've got people calling for harsher restrictions. We've got people in Western and Southwest Sydney saying we are doing the best that we can. As the Police Minister, what do you say about that? Do we need harsher restrictions?
Well, listen, we will always act as a police force. Their responsibility is for enforcement. The public health orders are written by the health minister and on the advice of the chief medical officer. I think that what we've got at the moment is certainly enough, because that was introduced last week when we cleared up a lot of the loopholes and tightened a lot of the means for people to get around the laws. And of course, we made a significant increase in the fines, and that unfortunately since Monday we've had 2,399 fines issued. That's not good, but I'd like to see people comply with the rules that they are at the moment. I mean, October's not far away. You can, and as I've said all along, you can. It's free. It's a restriction of freedom of movement, not a restriction of freedom of speech. You can still write to your local MP, ring Talkback Radio, write a letter to the editor, start an online petition.
Yep.
I'm quite happy to hear people's complaints, but just don't do it in an illegal way.